Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate everything that the Commission has done to help communities and emergency responders during wildfires out west. It's disappointing that this majority hasn't worked with us on any of the solutions that can restore communication networks in areas that have been hit. For instance, my Wireless Resiliency Act. I'd also hope this committee would follow this Commission's lead in setting effective spectrum policy this Congress. Greater transparency for federal spectrum holdings is necessary for policyholders to make informed decisions so scarce spectrum resources are used in the best way possible. Earlier this week, I introduced the Government Spectrum Valuation Act with Congresswoman Clark to assess the commercial value of federal spectrum. While I had hoped to focus my questioning on this bipartisan effort, the majority today has made clear that they are dead set on continuing their pursuit for a government takeover of the internet. Chairman Pai, since the beginning of your tenure as FCC chair, the majority has warned of an internet apocalypse if Obama's FCC 2015 Title II regulatory order was reversed. They've said investment in speeds would decrease and access would suffer. Clearly, this hysteria is not based in fact. Had these concerns come to fruition, our networks would have collapsed under the huge increase in demand during this pandemic. In reality, our networks have held up and even thrived during this unprecedented increase in demand. Meanwhile, networks in Europe, where they've embraced the socialist internet policies the Democrats champion here in Congress, have buckled under the added pressure. Chairman Pai, do you believe that your Restoring Internet Freedom Order is part why the U.S. networks were able to handle the increased network traffic?
Thank you for the question, Congresswoman. There's no question with increased usage of 35%, up to 35% of fixed networks, up to 20% on mobile networks, a lot of people were wondering, would our networks be able to stand up? And they have. And part of the reason is because of the regulatory reforms that we took against vociferous opposition before anyone heard of coronavirus, the most notable being the Restoring Internet Freedom Order. I'm proud of the decision we took to get rid of those arcane utility-style regulations, and the results speak for themselves. Speeds are up over twice as what they were when we made the decision. Set records for fiber deployment in 2018 and 2019. Millions more Americans getting access to the internet than ever before. The price index, if you look at it, has gone down in terms of the affordability of prices. An independent study of urban rate survey data has shown that. And so, notwithstanding all the hot air and the absurd predictions we saw from politicians and lobbyists and the rest, the proof is in the pudding. The American consumer online today is better off because of our decision than they were prior to 2017.
Thank you, Chairman Pai. I'd like to close by addressing the renewed efforts to establish a nationalized 5G network. The idea a government-run network would be preferable to the networks within a free market is ill-advised. Likewise, the continued desire to impose utility-style regulations on the internet will impair our ability to deploy 5G and will only empower the Chinese Communist Party to beat us in this race for 5G. I've heard a lot of talk today from the majority about their desire for the U.S. to lead in 5G. I hope we can put this talk into action by dropping the misguided push that will kill our ability to deploy next-gen networks. Free enterprise is central to America. It's produced the best telecommunications networks in the world, period. We have won the race to 5G. We've unleashed a decade of innovation and the app economy. And we will do the same with 5G by championing free markets and American ingenuity. We cannot beat the Chinese at their own game of central planning and government control, neither should we try. And with that, I yield back.